Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to day 2 of the SteelFab 2022 conference organized by Expo Center Sharjah in association with Construction Week Middle East. I am Ranju Warrier, the editor of Construction Week Middle East, and I will be taking proceedings forward today with 2 very interesting panel discussions. Now, yesterday we heard from industry experts on how automation has become the main driver of the steel fabrication industry and how it has helped streamline processes. We also understood how relying on the local supply chain was a boon at a time when the industry was combating the challenges caused by the pandemic. Now let us invite our first set of panelists today to throw some light on the steel fabrication industry's journey to embrace technological advancements. To kick off the discussions, we will be joined by Stephen Nasser, Chief Technology Officer at Sabre Investment Company, and Radhavan and Dale, General Manager of Pico Gulf LLC. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining me today. It's a real good pleasure to have both of you all with us. Now, let's not waste any time and let's start our discussion today. Now, we know that the one question that the metal probably or the steel fabrication industry has often been asked is, are we innovating enough? So let's start our discussion keeping this in mind and understand from both of you all, what are your thoughts about how the steel fabrication industry's journey has been towards digitization? Let's start with you first, Stephen.
Okay, I think the question is a very interesting question. Are we innovating enough? Because, innovation in itself is such a vast word to use. If you look at it today, you walk around a steel fab and all, and congrats to the people who put together this exhibition. And you see all these very advanced machines that have so much power and so much capability. I mean, they could pretty much redesign, rebuild the world all over again, okay? The question is, what do we want to build? Yeah. Ultimately, what are the products and the parts that we want to build? And you know that today, it's on everybody's mind wherever you go, regardless of industry, sector, verticals, it's supply chain. Yeah. And one of the vast rapid shifts that happened when COVID hit was the world had a supply chain bottleneck. Absolutely. That they ultimately needed to quickly produce parts, and even industries that are known to produce parts for aerospace or other sort of sectors had to shift to support the healthcare sector. Okay, so if we then come back to construction today, and you look at all these machines fabricating all sorts of parts from mild steel, stainless steel, titanium, whatever the applications are, I mean, it's great to have this power. It's great to have this technology. Yeah. The question is, how do we come together as an inclusive and collaborative ecosystem to discuss what do we want to innovate for? And here I pass it over to my friend Radhavan.
Let's hear from you, Radhavan. What exactly?
What I can say, it's perfect, Steve. Thank you so much. Thank you for your comments, and thank you to Construction Week, guys. You are doing a very great job. I'm happy to be here, and I thanks also to our audience that we are here. Yeah, but the question, if we are doing enough, from my perspective, I believe I would be a little bit more critical. I'm trying to be always this practical man in the field. I believe that we should do much more. What we can measure progress. I'm happy to see the progress in the industry. I'm happy to see the progress in construction industry and even in steel manufacturing. We are a family-owned business from 1965, but we become a global company. Yeah. It means we are trying to be very active. We are spending a lot of money and effort to be innovative, and we are putting our sources to digitalization. But generally, I believe we should be much more. Because this is about value, and I would like to see more value. That means that's my reply. We should be much more active. But I'm looking to progress. I'm happy to see progress globally. I'm happy to see progress in Middle East. Yeah. I believe Middle East is, in many cases, innovative and forerunner. That means, from this perspective, I'm happy to be part, and I'm happy that our company is paying focus and attention to this.
Interestingly, also in the last 2 years, like how we were having a discussion earlier, we have, like as a construction industry and obviously as steel fabrication industry, we were technically forced to innovate and adopt technology, and that has actually helped a lot of stakeholders. Now, if you look at it, everyone is positively embracing technology, which is a good thing. So let's understand what are some of these technological trends that you've observed in the industry since, with the technological advancements coming in place, and then also with automation and robotics and AI being used across and on the board.
Thank you. I think going to what Radovan just said, okay, we want to see a lot more progress. We want to see a lot more efficiency. We want to see a lot more streamlining happening. So I'm the Chief Technology Officer of a company, G, as a member of Saber. G is an advanced machining platform. And what we've done, so our history, our legacy over the years, we've developed all the road furnishing and infrastructure of the United Arab Emirates and much of the GCC region. What we've done in the last 2 or 3 years is we've invested in an advanced machining platform with some of the biggest, most advanced machines that you see today at SteelFab. And the reason we did that is because, as you said, today you want technology to work for you, to give you the kind of power and superiority that you're looking for.
That's right.
Okay? Yeah. So you want artificial intelligence because you can no longer really count on any process to just simply be running manually or with physical presence. Yeah. Because you never know when that physical presence and that manual intervention becomes a liability or is not available. Okay? And you want automation. You want automation because if you literally look at it today, what you want to do is you want to be able to speed up the lead time, you want to reduce your waste, you want to increase efficiency, and that ultimately brings up productivity. And yes, you're right, the COVID, the disruption that you see in ecosystems and in the world today is forcing us not just to embrace technology, but to actually look at it and ask ourselves, how is it going to solve our problems?
That's right.
And no industry is independent. You cannot say today, construction, oh, we don't care about technology. We're like building buildings and putting some steel fabrication and doing some, glass work. It is all connected because ultimately the value chain is all connected.
Yeah,
so
right.
The people who are building and fabricating in steel will ultimately support construction and other markets. So what we've done is we've looked at our capabilities and we've advanced them in so many ways. We've digitized the day-to-day operation. Yeah. So we're basically totally seamless. We deal through interfaces. Second of all, like I said, we're dealing with advanced machines. We're changing the concept of design for manufacturing, design for assembly. So today when you're building those fixtures or you're putting together those products at G, we're doing it with the least amount of effort because of how we design with these machines.
That's right. That's very interesting to know, and goes back to what I would like to ask you about automation. How has automation helped, make processes better for Pico Gulf? Even in your factory in Russell Kema, how has it helped, avoid any disruptions or probably, as Stephen just mentioned, less efforts? How has it been?
I think, Steve, I was listening very carefully to Steve. It was great points. And I believe it is super necessary, and the change is dramatic for sure. In our company or in our group, we are investing for decades already in digitalization and automatization. And what we did here in the Middle East, we were using a lot of welding robots to streamline our processes. And most of the people, they are worried that there will be not enough work for the people. It's not like this. It's about safety. It's about more efficiency and increasing the competence of our workers. I'm very happy to see that from the people which started with our robots are becoming guys which are able to program these robots, to adjust the robots. And this kind of growth on progress is for me fantastic to see. I'm happy to see when we have visitors in our factory and also from our colleagues or from government when the guys are coming and they see that our guys, they're adjusting these machines. That means I see a lot of benefits from it. And it's great.
I think going to what Radovan just said, it's very interesting that he's got this outlook because going back to your question that started this debate about innovation, we all want to innovate. Because we know that we cannot be in the same place. okay? But at the same time, you have people who think that innovation brings change, change brings development, development brings transformation. So people get scared.
Yeah.
Everyone says, if we innovate or we change ourselves too much, then we lose our compass, as you say, our North Star, where we're headed. But I really like the outlook that Radovan just gave, which is the right outlook that we should all have, is that when we are changing, we are learning.
Yeah.
And transformation should not be something that scares us. It should be something that empowers us to grow, that we should take it as a lesson to learn new things. So at G, when we put in all this advanced technology, at first everyone's like, oh, this is too much technology. We're going into cyber world, okay? But what was interesting is how quickly people started not just embracing it,
Yeah.
but they started coming to me and to the technology team and saying, can we do this? Can we do that? And now you started having people thinking outside the box and start to think, oh, wow, what more can I do with this technology? Okay? And that's the thing. Technology is such a vast word that when you speak it, it means everything. Okay? At the end, the way I see solutions, I love technology. I like to dabble with it. But I like to look at it more as how is it solving my problems?
Yeah.
And when you start showing people how quickly it solves their problems and how quickly it brings a solution to their problems,
Yeah.
they start to realize it's not a threat, it's a tool, or it's a step up, as Radovan just said,
Yeah.
to doing more.
Absolutely. I mean, obviously, the resistance to technology has obviously never helped us as an industry. And as both of you all rightfully mentioned, it has only increased competencies, it has only increased our efficiencies, and it has only be a friend. It's not a foe anymore. So we should embrace technology. That's obviously the bottom line of things. Now, taking our conversation forward, continuing on what we are talking about technology, I want to understand from each one of you on your companies and how it has been for you as a journey, with your consumers, and how has it helped augment your models. What happens when you're approaching customers and when you have your technologies in place? How easy it is to deliver everything in on time and and under budgets?
Very, very nice question, a very nice point, Ranju. When I'm analyzing immediately in my head, I see always challenges already from my job. That means, we are in the stage, we have a lot of data, but you have to analyze the data in such a way that you will be able to point where is the value for the customer, right? Means this is very important that we are always focused on the value, same as was describing Steve. I believe those are very important points. And I see very big benefit in every day of the work, because we are engineering company, we are structural engineers, which are also engaged in design. Oh, this was painful. Sorry, guys. But this design of the building, the way already how we are designing the building now, and which possibilities we have now, and which we were having maybe 10, 15 years ago, is dramatically different. And I always like this kind of real cases from the life, because we were talking about production. I will talk now a little bit about engineering, about design. With this pandemic, a lot of interesting situations were happening where people were changing usage of the buildings from one building to hospital, or you need to extend hospital, right? And everybody is willing to do it very fast because it was emergency. And it's very nice to see these cases when you have building which was built a couple of years ago, and now with this technology you can do fast measurement with lasers. You can do beam model. You have Tekla. You have all these tools which are part of the digitalization, and you can analyze and do the output very fast. On the other hand, when you don't have this data, you can see the difference, because in our company we are facing a lot of cases. And I have seen two different cases, how fast was output and added value from one part, and how long it was taking for the guys to take measurement to find drawings from the another. That means I'm always focused on these practical cases, and I'm lucky. I'm facing this every day, and I see a lot of added value. What I see like a challenge is always that when you have this big amount of the data, what to do with this data? What really to focus where is added value for the customer. Sometimes I believe that we have challenges to identify how we should use the data, or how we should analyze the data, and what we are expecting is the output. But it is good because this is way to the progress. We are changing, we are transforming, we are working with it. This is good. And people often thinking that this, construction industry is very slowly developing. When I'm looking to progress in our industry, or when we will look to some high tech, this you cannot compare, but people believe that this is because of technology. No, people are behind the technology. We have to pay more attention to the progress and be all active part of it.
Absolutely. That's a very well point made that I'm sure, Steve, you would also like to add something to that.
Yeah, so about our company, so G, member of Saber, is 46 years old today. We've existed since the beginning of time. We've developed all the roads, infrastructures, and highways of the UAE. And if we look at our legacy, or basically our journey, we've always been quick to adopt technologies, whether they are technology solutions we're delivering to the external customer, or technology solutions we are integrating into our day-to-day operations. In the last 5-6 years, we've taken a tremendous step forward as we were part of a joint venture to do with robotics and robotic machining for the aerospace and automotive industry. And today, from that, we've taken other leaps forward with our advanced machining factory that we have in Abu Dhabi. And our business is predominantly, as you say, much of the business is a business to government. I mean, they are the main client. And we deal with public and private sector, but ultimately we're developing infrastructure for the government and from the UAE roadmap. And because much of that is customized and much of that is based on specifications that you need to meet. So what's been interesting is watching to see, you know, a lot of the customization and the prototyping process and the defining process, that takes a lot of time, okay? And ultimately, if it doesn't work, scratch it, bring something else. But what's happening today with the ability of doing 3D modeling and dealing with more machines, advanced machines that have on them interfaces that allow you to simulate and run the product that you want to run, okay, then you're able to run the whole concept before you actually start machining.
That's right.
And because these machines are so advanced and they have all the sensor technology and all the data capture technology you can think of, after you're done machining, you bring the whole you bring the whole process. You extract all the data of the process and how long it takes directly from the machine. So now we are no longer in this sort of, you could say, not guessing game, but you are getting more and more accurate results and information that allow you to make the decisions.
That's right.
Because at the end, you can fabricate whatever you want and you can be as fancy as you want with all the technology, but ultimately companies are profit and loss companies, and we need to meet the bottom line. And that allows us to be more efficient, to reduce the waste, to increase productivity, and ultimately that's all driving revenue and driving the growth of the company.
Just speaking on your point about what you mentioned on 3D printing, let's just get a little deeper into that conversation and understand how has 3D printing actually helped the steel fabrication industry. I'm sure it is relatively new to the industry and companies and fabricators are embracing it, but how has it been since adopting that technology? Has it changed processes, made them easier? Was it easy to convince your customers and, you know, the stakeholders that you work with?
I will admit we're rather still a pioneer, or we are playing around with 3D printing. I remember the first time I came across 3D printing was at my Boston University course. I did manufacturing engineering, and they took us and they showed us stereolithography, which is a form of 3D printing, and that goes all the way back to '94. But today, we came across some companies that are showing 3D printing technology, and it's interesting how far it keeps on developing. And I think that the main drivers that is driving 3D printing is that we all want to produce faster, and we want to reduce waste.
That's right.
So I was talking to somebody, and they said to me, in the most simplest terms of understanding 3D printing, you need to understand the difference between, you know, extracting material or adding material. What is more productive?
That's right.
What is more efficient? And it's amazing. I mean, when we go from resin 3D printing to today, powder 3D printing, and wire 3D printing, all these different forms of 3D printing, you know, much of the industry that has adopted it the fastest was healthcare. They were using it for prototypes, and the parts are not that, you're not really looking at a lot of stress and function, but you're looking at, you know, I mean, it's rather small, but you have the aesthetics. And ultimately, the automotive and aerospace industry was using it for prototyping and just kind of showcasing some parts. But I really think that every year we're going to see 3D printing, if not mid-year, take one step further and one step further. Because the metrics of industry, regardless of whether it's healthcare, aerospace, automotive, the metrics that's driving this industry to be more productive and to be more efficient in its delivery is allowing 3D printing to evolve much faster and in a more streamlined way.
That's right. Very interesting points made there. And I would like to come to you, Radwan, and understand, have you been adopting 3D printing at Pico Gulf, and are you looking to that technology and the benefits that it can provide in the long run?
This is very wide topic, and this 3D printing is just proving the complexity in construction industry. And I mean, just generally, all the steel fabricators, the complexity and demand of the complexity is higher, and they have to adapt to this. Definitely, it's very, very interesting topic, 3D printing. Yeah, we are engaged with 3D printing, but what I was facing, my experience before 3D printing was used for some moreover architectural use.
Yes.
What we were trying to do, because we are like a company, we are always trying to be forerunners in all these our application and products, and therefore even these our products which we are developing already for years are trying to combine the best from steel and concrete, or we are trying to do connections for concrete which you can connect like a steel. Even in this part of 3D printing, we are associated with some partners, and we were trying to do this kind of 3D printing together with steel, which will already have some kind of structural demand. It means we were moreover focused on foundation, which could be already 3D printed with the steel, and could be applied. That means, I see this like a very strong trend. And even now already we are discussing even with Dubai for some projects where this combination, but still I see this like some kind of hybrid. We have to take the best combination from all these technologies. Some part can be done 3D printing, some part can be done in another logic with steel, with concrete combined to make some kind of a hybrid.
That's right.
I would see it like this, like some kind of most practical combination, because also like Steve mentioned, always matters bottom line. You have to do something, because all this digitalization, even 3D printing, everything what we are touching, it should go with the benefit for everybody. Right? That means we have to feed that. It has to be profitable. It has to be in the budget. Why we are trying to do this? That we will not face problems in the building side, in construction industry, that you are estimating to build some building for some budget, and on the way you will understand that you are out of the budget, that you spend more time. And digitalization, exactly the part which should help, and we should benefit from this digitalization. And this is also part of 3D printing. I love it. I like it. But I am happy that we are stepping into some direction which other people were not stepping before. Because I have seen a lot of 3D printing in construction, but moreover focus on architecture. Because this core is structural, we are focusing on this direction to prove it.
Yeah,
it's great.
We should be looking forward to times when both of these processes could be combined. I mean, there are so many examples in the UAE alone of 3D printed offices and houses and bus stops for that matter. So it's only time when we look forward to this, both of these processes being brought together. Now, just picking on both of your points, I understand that 3D printing...
I think what's interesting about 3D printing and what's driving it, and this could be just complete out topic, but we have gotten used to, as customers, consumers of technology, to be driving our own content, okay? So today, all of us some of us out there are using Facebook or other kinds of social media, but that's content you're generating. You're driving your content. Absolutely. You go on Instagram and everything, this is content you're driving. So we have gotten used to having this access where we can take a design or a concept and print what we want, right? So people are speaking about having 3D printers at home. Forget industry, forget construction. Talk about someone having a 3D printer at home to print, basic needs. I can print if I need this tool, I need this part, I can print it at home and use it at home. So we've gotten, as technologists and consumers of technology, we've gotten used to having it available to us when we want it. Yeah. Okay. And that's why today our evaluation of any technology we come across to evaluate it and see if it's good enough is how does it perform to us accessing any app on a mobile phone. So we've got this kind of benchmark we've already set. So now when we're dealing with any sort of requirements for products or manufacturing, we have a benchmark. We have a metric in our head that says this is the kind of performance we're looking for. And that's why I agree. I mean, today we see hybrids and kind of examples of mixed manufacturing, some 3D printing, some machining and milling. But I think ultimately it's all going to go in the direction to give more power to the end user.
That's right.
Ultimately, that's what I think it is.
That's absolutely right. And just taking a conversation forward, all of these advancements and technological developments are only helping us, streamline our processes. One, obviously reduce our budgets and time, and obviously make it more cost efficient. So just to understand from each one of you, with your organizations, how has it helped in a long run, to reduce costs, to make sure that, there aren't any project delays? What has it been like for Pico Gulf?
When I'm listening to and you are saying reducing the cost, I believe I don't like it. I like more, we are increasing the value. I would not look only that we are decreasing something, decreasing the cost, because this is not necessarily the case. And what is also great on Pico and on our company, that very big portion of this our profits are going back to company. These funds that are not disappearing. That means we are putting very big effort from the perspective of the money and sources to be innovative and to always continue on the progress. And I believe this is the only way how you can keep in the market and to stay competitive. I would not look from the perspective, because our point is not to decrease the cost or to be cheap. No, we want to bring value.
Yeah.
We want to be paid for what we are doing, but we want to bring value. If we are delivering value to our customers, I believe this is the main point. And for our internal processes, yeah, sure, we have to be efficient. We are looking ways how to be efficient. But as I mentioned before, the point is not to have like less people in the production, but to increase their knowledge.
Absolutely.
For me, really, when I'm looking to these guys, when they are able to operate all these machines which we have, I'm great. I'm proud.
Yeah.
I'm proud about the team, what they did, and I'm proud about the people.
Interesting.
I mean,
That also goes to, how you were investing into research and development, to make more progress and, with your operations. How has it been for GE, for that matter, Stephen?
That's an interesting question, and I agree with Radovan. Is that if we look at how to reduce costs, we immediately take a spreadsheet and say X, Y, Z, we're done. But ultimately, and I agree, it's increasing value. See, earlier you asked us about AI and automation, and then we started speaking about big data.
Yeah.
Today, we have systems that are capturing data from the production factory, capturing data from the consumer experience, capturing data from finance. I mean, you've got all this data.
Yeah.
So your decisions are becoming more and more analyzed according to, the scenarios that you're facing. Okay, and as a manufacturing company that is dealing with an advanced machining capability, one of the biggest drivers when you have all this data is, how to drive the inventory, how to drive the production of parts, how to drive delivery. So you really start getting more and more streamlined compatibility across the various functions of the organization. Because ultimately, going back to what Radovan said, and he's right, you want to automate. You want to go into, these kinds of applications that are high-tech and advanced, because what you want is you want to create synergy across your function. And the more your functions are connected, and the more integration you have in an organization, then the more success you have in deployment, because the communication is all the more interconnected, and you're all speaking the same language, which is what he said, increasing value, driving your value chain, getting closer to your stakeholders. Because when you start functioning as an organization that recognizes, this is us at G, we recognize that our ecosystem does not end internally. It's internally, it's externally, it's globally. So when you start, capturing this value across your stakeholders, internally, externally, globally, then you have better integration, then you have better success at growth and productivity.
Absolutely, and that integration is also embedded further into supply chain. Like we were discussing earlier when we were having a conversation before the conference. That has always obviously helped to meet logistical challenges. To ensure that your supply chain is not as disrupted as it was before. So, how has it been for you? Like if you just look into the past 2 years, obviously supply chain was the one that was disrupted the most because of the pandemic. But then there are times when, because of the local suppliers availability and looking into localization has actually helped suppliers. So if you look at from a technology perspective, how was that for your organization and generally for the industry as well?
I believe it was quite challenging. I believe this was a very big topic. It was shock for everybody. Many things changed very fast. And here is important again this speed of the information and quality of the information which you will get and how we will work with it. I'm happy that we were able to find solution for every of these cases. But sure, it was challenging. It was visible in the whole industry.
Absolutely.
I remember the time when the buildings just suddenly stopped, and I was really surprised. And nobody knew what will happen. I believe the biggest challenge was this visibility. We were not having visibility. It means, from this perspective, big challenge. On the other hand, I'm happy how we passed it and what we learned, because this is always something which we need to take away. It means, let's be ready for this and prepare that, and then we can act in this situation. But sure, it was challenge, and I believe in some cases it still keeps, because not all people in the industry were ready for this, and maybe this is the same as we discussed that here is the point that digitalization is important to start, but you have to pay attention to this in long term, that you are able to react. If you are not paying attention to this data and to the information, how we are working with them, and then suddenly something will happen, it's very hard for you to react.
That's right. And this goes also back to what a discussion that we had yesterday on day one of the SteelFab conference, when one of the panelists mentioned the same points as yours and agreed that, it was obviously important for them to innovate at a point and then, give away those setback attitudes and embrace technology just so that you could streamline those processes that you're talking about and solve those supply chain challenges. Coming to you, Stephen, you were talking about how advancements in technology and how advancements in machineries at your organization, help mitigate those supply chain challenges. Could you just talk to us a little more about that?
Yeah, so when you look at supply chain, you immediately start to wonder, it's really, you're dependent on various suppliers, sub-suppliers, and really how much across the tier supply chain are you, dependent on various parts. And typically what we do, because we need material, and the material we need to machine it, and to produce those parts and components. So when you have a better idea of what you need to produce and how much quantity, and you have all that data that you're capturing and you're measuring, then you're able to plan better for your inventory. See, what took the world by surprise when COVID hit was that suddenly people realized that the supply chain, first of all, we are all a global supply chain. You cannot just look at one entity or one region. We really rely on components and materials from all over.
That's right.
And when you start having various areas closing and you need to depend on them, then you need to shift. Now, because you go into advanced machining and you're capturing data and you have a better understanding on how you would machine this and what kind of approach you would take, then maybe you can start looking at alternatives.
That's right.
It starts giving you intelligence. And when you have intelligence, you have the foresight on planning better, positioning yourself better, and start looking at exactly, how would you go about delivering these products. We can no longer be just dealing with events, just kind of by surprise. We need to have better ways to plan and forecast where we need to go. And that's what advanced machining, that's what these very technology-driven applications are giving us the power to do. So at G, we are able to immediately respond to any needs, because of how we have built our systems to be integrated, to capture information, and we're always ahead of the curve in everything we do.
Yeah, that's exactly how the industry should be. Like stakeholders should be ahead of the curve, and there shouldn't be any pain point where you should be stopping and worrying about things. You should be embracing technology in the right way. But are we? That's the final question that I have for both of you. Are we adopting technological advancements and machine learning and Internet of Things the right way, and are we heading in the right direction? Let's hear your final thoughts on that.
I believe that from this discussion with you and Steve, it's visible that there are people which are interested into this. And as I said in the beginning, if we are doing enough, I believe not still, but we are doing progress. And what we can measure, we should be focused on the progress. Someone can do more, someone can do less, but let's be focused on the progress, on the added value. And I believe this is the way where we are. And let's move forward. Let's move forward.
Yeah, let's move forward. What about you, Stephen? What are your final thoughts and comments?
I think if you look at how many mobile phones are in supply out there, how many people are using mobile phones, and how much data is traveling around the world, and how big these data centers are, and now they're trying to build more quantum computing and quantum capabilities. So you would think, these would tell you that we are not just embracing technology, and not are we it's driving everything. An Internet of Things, doesn't need to be a digital factory. It doesn't need to be that your refrigerator is connected to the supermarket, that's connected to the restaurant. That's, Internet of Things in its simplest forms is your mobile phone. I mean, it's connected, it's got applications, it's driving information. And really, I think that not only that we are embracing technology, but it is becoming the foundation through which industries are not just developing and transforming, but they're even pivoting. So, once upon a time, you have a company that's developing, let's say, aerospace parts, and they just shift and suddenly do healthcare products, and they shift and they probably do something else, and all in a matter of pivoting to the needs of industry. So today, we are embracing technology. We have to embrace technology because we have to have information and intelligence in order to plan better and position ourselves for a much transformed and digital future.
Absolutely, that's a very well point made. And on that note, I would like to end our discussion here. But then before that, I would like to ask our audience if anyone has any questions for our panelists here today. Okay, I don't think there are any more questions, and we pretty much had everything covered. So thank you once again, gentlemen, for joining us today. It was an absolute pleasure having this discussion.
Thank you so much.
Thank you once again.
Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you, guys.
Thank you once again to Stephen and Radwan. I'm sure that conversation was very interesting for everyone attending the conference here today. And I'm sure all of us would agree that embracing technology shouldn't be a cause for us to stop anywhere. It should only help us and as an industry to move further and make our processes more interesting and more creative and increase operational efficiency. Now, on that note, we will take a quick 10 minutes break and we will come back with the second panel discussion of the day. I hope you enjoy your coffee and snacks. Thank you so much once again. Welcome back, everyone, once again. And now we will be inviting our experts to shed some more light on their predictions about the steel fabrication industry and what are they looking forward to in terms of the trends and challenges towards the development of the sector. To take the conversation forward, let me invite our panelists, which includes Mr. Rafiq M.A., Executive Director at SteelFab, and Mr. Silvio Tomasoni, Managing Director, Plastic Machines, a part of Overmac Group. All right, thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining me today. It's a real pleasure to have you with us and take this discussion forward, which is our last panel discussion of the SteelFab conference. Now, just looking back at things and what we've been talking since yesterday and what conversations we've had today, I mean, steel fabrication's growth has been quite evident, even in the past couple of years, even with challenges in place, we were able to see the kind of growth and the recovery that the industry has had. Just to take things forward, and now that we're looking into the future and trying to understand how this recovery and the new trends are going to help the sector, what kind of opportunities and growth avenues are steel fabricators such as yourself looking forward to, in the near future? Let's start with you first, Mr.
Thank you very much for this good question. See, basically, the beauty of the steel fabrication, so you have to have the steel fabrication everywhere. Wherever you go, you will be seeing the steel fabrication from your house, from your oil and gas sector, from industry. So there is a high potential for steel fabrication all the times, everywhere. So if you see during the last 2 years also, during this pandemic situations, the industry was little bit challenging, but it was on growing. So if you see the total capacity or total prediction for the coming years, for what we feel, or basically from our company perspective of view, around 50 million tons will be there in GCC. So around 5 to more than 5% of the increase. So that is what we are looking into.
So you're looking forward to an increase in the stock.
That is
Coming to
correct.
you, Silvio, what are your expectations from the industry for the near future?
Thank you very much for the question. I'm Silvio, the Managing Director of Pastec Machine Tools. The expectation is very nice because, as he say, even if during COVID, the business and the steel fab production didn't change too much. In fact, if you check in the number of 2019 and 2020, the increment of the steel fab production was around 5%. In 2021 was 4.8, 4.7%. It means even COVID didn't change. He's right. He say the steel fab production is everywhere to do many things. This is big advantage. Means we can say we didn't see any reduction of our business. And for this reason, we are also investing. We are opening office in Qatar. We are opening office in Kuwait. In Saudi, we are already there. We are a supplier of machines for the steel fab, not for the material. Means we can supply different type of machine, different type of process. Our expectation for this year, 2022 and 2023, because it's 2 years, is to have more or less the same. I am aligned 100%. To have more or less the same increment, means between 4.5 and 5% per year. This is very interesting because it means it's not going back. Is growing as before. To confirm this value, we can say also another things. We understood the request of steel fab is moving at the same time, for example, with the request of tourism. Where there is tourism, hotel, residential, is increasing. And if we put together the request of steel fab and the request of tourism and residential, these two fields are moving together. Means we are very happy. We think the situation will follow this number.
Yeah, very interesting point made there about tourism and connecting it to how, the industry is also moving forward with that. And goes to show how, obviously in the region, if you look at the UAE, Saudi, Qatar, and obviously all the other GCC nations, there are so many tourism development, entertainment, and residential projects coming. So that obviously aligns absolutely with what you just mentioned. And talking about that, we know that the World Steel Association has predicted like a 2.2% increase, close to 2.2% increase, in the steel production. But just looking at that, what are your expectations about regional demand? What kind of growth are you envisioning, for the steel industry within the region itself?
See, like I told you last time, it's around 5%, it will be there. Yes. So basically, right now you see, there are a lot of projects are coming in Abu Dhabi, lot of in Qatar, lot of in Saudi Arabia. Yeah. So lot of jobs are coming into the market right now. Yeah. Because if you see the last 2 years, it was very slow down. Yeah. So people were a little bit waiting and watching how to move on and what is going to happen. Now you have to live with COVID. Yeah. Now you know how you can live with COVID also. Yeah, so that is why people are getting a lot of confidence to move on. That is why we are also planning to put up a facility in Saudi Arabia right now. Because we were looking forward since last 5 years and slowly watching what to do, how to do. now we have taken a decision to move on. So, and moreover, machinery, like I was listening the last panel discussions, automation is happening a lot. So with that, there is a good future for this business.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah, the predictions are quite intact there. But
yes.
very interesting point made then on how expanding the operation, like waiting and the watch period was very important for the industry because it obviously helped you make better decisions. Coming to you, Sylvia, what was it the same case with your organization as well? Did the wait and watch period also help you with your expansion across the region?
Yes. We are already in Saudi. Now we are opening new office, new people, new specialists for the SteelFab. My expectation is very positive, especially I told you in the tourism, in the residential, in the aerospace. SteelFab is everything concern the production of steel, but also the assembly of steel, not only the product and the automation of steel. It means there are some sectors, for example, aerospace. They will use also the steel fabrication for the body, and in Middle East, you consider in the next 5 years around 20-25% of the investment of the world will be in Middle East. Means this is another positive point. In Middle East, in the next year, the government, oil and gas maybe will be a little bit less in the future because there is the green power, the electrical, etc., etc. Means the government are investing in the new project out of the oil and gas. It means tourism, it means residential, it means energy, it means aerospace. And all these sectors are SteelFab. They need a SteelFab. They need material, they need a machine, they need automation.
Like both of you all rightfully mentioned about how you are looking forward to having more opportunities in the sector, but then more opportunities also mean there are more challenges and newer challenges. But how are your organizations equipped to overcome these challenges if you're looking into near future? I mean, nobody predicted a COVID, but then it was there. Despite it being there, we overcame that, and now with vaccination rollouts, it's just helping more and more economies and countries. But then with those challenges coming in, how are your organizations equipped?
See, Ranju, just to add something in addition what he was saying, because you see, especially in the Middle East and all over, we have a very good and respected rulers who is supporting the industry. So that is very important for us because that is a confidence for the people that somebody is there to support you. That is one of the main thing that you are seeing a steady growth for this industry in this region. So coming back to the challenges, yes, COVID teaches a lot. So before the COVID, we do not know, or we were not knowing and how we have to cope up. So once the COVID came in, we know how to sustain, how to go ahead with the COVID days. So the main challenges what we were facing, or we are facing right now, the manpower management, because you do not know what is going to happen tomorrow.
That's right.
So the spread, if there is a heavy spread, so what you have to do. So for metal fab, what we have done, we have allocated the people in a very special manner, and we have shifted the manpower into more productive and added a lot of automated machines. That is how we are managing this situation.
Interesting to know that. In fact, it also adds to what one of our panelists mentioned yesterday, manpower planning is obviously a challenge, and also the lack of skilled manpower, to get the right operators. What kind of challenges are you predicting, and what kind of challenges are you experiencing right now?
Yeah. I agree 100%. COVID has changed completely the way to do business. We are a supplier of machines for the SteelFab, but we are 300 people. This is not very normal because normally these suppliers are very small company. Why we are 300 people? Because our policy is to supply the completely solution, the completely turnkey. Especially during COVID, many customers They have problem of manpower, they have problem of material, they have many problems. We found a way to supply the completely turnkey, means from A to Z. Sometimes we supply also the people, the specialists, because it's not easy now to find, they cannot fly, they cannot get visa, they cannot go in another country. Sometimes with the machine we supply also the people with the training to be able to manage the business. Means the matter is not only material, steel and machines. The matter, the secret is to supply what the customer needs to do business. Because if they do business, we do business too.
That's right. That's very interesting to know. And just speaking on your point about how supply chain management and things you talked about, obviously there are new trends that are coming for demand and supply in the market. And then this is obviously also going to change, this year, next year, and then, years ahead. Just to come back to you, Silvio, what are some of these trends that you are looking forward to with, especially your machines and the kind of demand that you are seeing and with the supply chain?
Yeah, the most important point is to be competitive. We need to work with our customer, with ourselves to be competitive, to have a result of our production to be competitive in the world. Now the world with the globalization is very difficult to, means if we find the right solution, the right machine, the right material, the right tools, the right specialist, the right operator, the result of this process is competitive. Competitive means the price of the component is competitive, can be sold in all the world. Means, if you start from this point, there are many things to do. For example, the automation. Yeah. You are competitive if you don't use too many operators. You are competitive if you use the last technology of the machine, the high performance. Sometimes some customer, the trend may be during COVID is to buy a cheaper machine. Yeah. But if you buy cheaper machine, you cannot compete with the company in the world. They are using high technology. That's right. I can tell you one simple example. We have some machine 2-axis production. Mm-hmm. We have some machine with 12-axis production. It means this machine with 12 axes can do 12 times more than the other one. Yeah. Means at the end you are more competitive. Yes, you spend a little bit more when you buy the machine, but at the end you are competitive. You can sell your product in the market.
Yeah, and obviously that competition always helps organizations such as yourselves, to better and provide better services. What is it like for Metal Fab? How have the trends been like? What kind of change are you seeing in demand and supply now that projects are also becoming very complex in nature?
Yeah, like Mr. Silvio said, everybody is looking for a competitive equipment and the price factor. So, and moreover, we have to be very service oriented because every client has got unique requirement. So you have to stand for that unique requirement and you have to make them very happy. And you have to do a very better service because it's very demanding. Yeah. Because since the last 2 years, you can see the supply, the demand was very less. So we could survive in a very nicely. That's and right. We could sell the things in a very good manner. So that is why the clients will always be very demanding. So you have to make sure that you are doing a good job and you are listening them. You are delivering a quality product timely. That is also very important. Because if you see the total project, maybe whatever the equipment we are supplying, say for an example, an injection skid or a TEG skid, what we are supplying, that will be a very small element of a big project. That's right. So if there is a delay or if something goes wrong on our product, the whole project is going to be in trouble. That's right. So that you have to see and you have to be very transparent also with the client. If something goes wrong, you have to stand up and say, there is some problem is there, so we will be fixing it timely or we will be doing a good job. Yeah. That is one of the things. And moreover, like he said, see the situations or see how we can reduce the cost to make the quality better. So the cost should not compromise on quality. That is also to be looked into.
That's right. But just to pick on your point on transparency, and this is very interesting because yesterday also we had a conversation where we were talking about what kind of role transparency and with that collaboration can play. Just want to understand from you specifically, and also coming back to you, Silvio, as well. What kind of impact did you see, in the last 2 years? Was transparency still the same? Did you see a lack of transparency in the past 2 years? And how has it changed now that you've entered into?
I will just share our experience because last year when the COVID was in a very big situation, so we closed down almost a month. So what we had done, when we find out the problems are coming in, we send official letters to all our clients that there is a problem, we may be closing down. Then we closed down, then we were keeping all the information to the client timely. And we were giving a mitigations also. We are closing 1 month and we will be working round the clock to complete the projects or complete the equipment or complete our delivery timely. So that is how. That one, what I feel, that has given a high confidence for our clients, for us. Because they know if MetalFab is very transparent company, they will stand up upfront instead of waiting and watching. That has created a very good opportunity for us. And moreover, what I feel, your client has to be your marketing mouth. Because if you do a good job for your client, so he will be saying, yeah, we have done this job with MetalFab and they are good. So that will bring a lot of jobs to you. But the thing is that you need to keep the same confidence, same prosperity for all the other jobs.
Yeah, that's very interesting to know. And I will come back to you just to talk a little bit more about that. Coming to you, Silvio, what was it like? How did the channel of transparency work for your organization? And again, collaborating with all your stakeholders.
Yeah, in our business, during COVID, we didn't close, because we are supplying service. Means even if COVID, as I said before, the customer needs our service. Means I have to thank really my team because they work very hard during two years. In collaboration with the Minister of Health in UAE, we have done some training to them how COVID is COVID for everybody. But if you are ready, for example, if you know how to use mask, gloves, sanitizer, social distance, we insist too much. Fortunately, during this COVID pandemic, when the customer call us, some company, they were, for example, they were close 50%, some company, but when they call us, one of my team was able to go there. One example to tell you, we have different departments, technical office, software, engineering, service, spare part, etc., etc. During these 2 years, we create a new department, the name is Customer Care. Cioè, customer care, it means, tell me what he say, tell me what you need, tell me what can I do for you, I do my best to do it. Fortunately, even during COVID, we did it. In fact, we collect new customer, new inquiry in different country. The changing has been a mentality changing. We need to do something to help the world to go out from the COVID. We have done very small. We don't think we did, but we try to do it.
That's very interesting to know. Those are quite interesting points. And why I say this also is because during these periods and then looking back into those time and then now looking forward to the coming years, we know what kind of challenges we've had and we don't want to repeat those challenges. And that's what brings me to you and understand a little bit more about, project delays and supply delays and payment factors from, the stakeholders that you've been working with. What was that like? And how do you predict that to be in the next couple of years?
So the question is regarding the last 2 years or coming 2
what
years?
was it like last 2 years? But then how has it changed and how do you look forward to in the next 2 years?
The last 2 years, like everybody said, it was very challenging because it was a shock to everybody. What is happening, how to happen, when it will come out. So the payment factors, the money flow, the cash flow was a little challenging because you cannot complain. what is happening if a project stops, of 2 billion project stop in Saudi Arabia or 1 billion project stop in UAE or wherever it may be. So there is a problem. Yeah. So the companies, they have come out of that one during these 2 years. Right. That is why the coming 2 years, we are seeing a lot of good things to come. And now people learn how to do the business with a tight cash flow.
That's right.
Okay, so the flexibility you have to see. The cash flow has become very important for everything right now. So lavishness is gone out. Yeah. People know how to live with limited cash and how to run the business with limited cash. And nowadays, what has happened after this COVID also, or during the COVID, banks are coming up with a lot of good things. They know that is because of the rulers' support. You know, the central bank has given directive to support SMEs. We are SME, and left and right. So if you face any problem, you can go to your bank. By that time, you have already developed a confidence with your bank. The bank knows that if they gave 1 million or 2 million or 10 million to SteelFab, there is no problem. Right. So like that, the confidence is there. So the coming 2 years will be very, very attractive, very interesting. And there is a saying, the companies or the people who exist and keep smiling during the last 2 years, they will be very good for the coming 2 years also.
It's definitely the survival of the fittest and the strongest and the smartest too. Yeah. Coming to you, Silvio, and just going back to where you spoke about, various sectors that have seen a change in demand. Let's understand from you, what are some of the sectors that you think will exceed in their demand for steel fabrication machinery as well? I mean, we know construction sector is the biggest. But then apart from that, what are some of the other trends that you're seeing in other sectors?
Yes, construction, it's okay. I think we are getting many requests from aerospace, for example, from energy, from automotive. I can tell you one example. For example, I am Italian, means we are working with Ferrari car. Ferrari, they bought a new machine, 3D printer from us, to make the part of the car with the 3D printer. BMW is doing the chassis of the car in different way. What I would like to say is the challenge for the future is to be innovative, to find the new way, new material, new machine, new process, also in the metal fab. The innovative is very important. So what we did 10 years ago now is completely different. That's means right. We have to be active, we need to study, we need to check what our customer they need, to do new technology, to machine new material, because the material now, in the world, the challenge is to have a new material. There are some material 10 years ago didn't exist. Means we have to be ready to have the material and to have also the machine and the process to cut this material. Means aerospace is one of these. Automotive is another one. Energy. As I said before, I think in the next 10 years or maybe 15 years, the oil and gas will be less because the green energy is growing too much. But the economy will not be less. Means there are other fields will be increased. The government, as he said, the government are investing too much in this new field. That's interesting. Before, I can say they were investing maybe only in the oil and gas. Now here in Middle East, they are investing in new field.
We spoke about sectors, but we also want to know regionally, regionally, what countries do you think will see an influx in demand? Will it be the UAE or will it be any other country for that matter? I mean, we know Saudi has a lot of projects in hand now.
If you see, last 2 months I was watching, there are a lot of jobs are coming, projects are announced from ADNOC in Abu Dhabi. And moreover, now you see that ADNOC is going with a joint venture also with a lot of companies, ENI and Sinopec and a lot of these companies in the oil sector for exploration. And end of the day, the processing also. Earlier it was only for exploration. Now they are going into the process side also. So we see a lot of things will be coming and more to come from Abu Dhabi also. And in Qatar, there are a lot of projects. The Qatar was silent since last 5 years. Now it is like it's woke up, and every day I'm seeing new projects are coming in, and of course Saudi.
That's right.
So
Those are your
that will be there.
predictions.
From Oman side, there are, but if you see the Dukum side,
Yeah.
there are a lot of projects are coming in. The very big area is developing, and one of the biggest refinery is coming.
Yeah, that's right.
And that area is lot of projects,
Yeah.
upstream, downstream, that is also coming in. And like he said, new technology, hydrogen related projects are also coming in.
That's right.
So there has to be project.
Yeah.
Then only we can make money and we can do the business.
That's absolutely right. Yeah. What about you, Sylvia? What are some of the regional countries that you're looking for?
Abu Dhabi, UAE, of course, because they are UAE is always ahead compared to other country. Saudi, Qatar, Kuwait, Oman. Exactly where we are open the office.
Yeah.
I think this is the country where. But I can say also less, but I can say also other countries, for example, like Jordan, for example, like
the Middle
Lebanon.
East,
No? I was a few months ago in that area. Also there, the government, they are investing too much to move the economy, to create a job for the people. Yes.
Very interesting to know.
I think I forgot to mention Egypt also,
Yeah.
if you are saying this area.
Yes.
So Egypt also, there are a lot of new
Yeah, I mean,
things are happening.
infrastructure is growing in Egypt,
Too
and
much.
not just infrastructure. It's obviously because of the population growth in Egypt. More residential projects are coming in, office spaces. So real estate has also seen an influx. So yeah, definitely Egypt is a market that organizations should be looking
So
forward
if you
to.
see, the new Cairo is almost like Dubai.
Absolutely. And we're looking forward to the other projects that will come. What happens after the new administrative capital. So yeah, Egypt is a market that we should be eyeing. That's very interesting to know. On a final note, I would like to know both of your final comments on what are your final expectations, from the industry, from the growth trajectory that you're seeing for the next 2 to 3 years.
Like I think we have already discussed a lot about that one. So the market, the projects, a lot of new projects will be coming, and mainly it will be very competitive.
Yep.
So you have to be ready to give a competitive price and a very good service. Everybody will be looking into that.
Yeah.
And the industry is going to be a price run also with a quality run.
That's right.
So you have to be ready for that one. Yeah. You need to cut down unnecessary cost. You have to see how you can develop the people, because you have to train the people, young people, with optimized packages.
That's right.
So with that one, I'm very sure everybody will be smiling, everybody will be keeping very happy, and everybody will be having good sleep also.
That's definitely a positive outlook. I'm sure you would agree to what he has to say, Rafiq has to say as well.
Exactly.
That's very interesting to know.
For the last comment, I can say we are studying this point. We need to study to do something in according the green mentality. The world, as you know, this is in general, not only for SteelFab, especially the new generation, because for us, the green mind, the green culture is something. But the new generation, the millennium, after 10 years, they will be very sensitive. Means they will ask to work in environment green, without pollution, they will ask to use the material green. So the word green, you see now in the last G8, you saw they talk too much about this. They are talking to put 1,000 billion tree, or 1,000 big number. No, I think in the next years this argument will be very important.
Yeah.
I think also in our world in the SteelFab we have to do something aligned with this green. Exactly, I don't know what exactly. We are studying for this, but we need to do something aligned with this. Yeah. New material, new process, less pollution, hydrogen. Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah. And
I want to add one more thing. Basically, when you are asking about the lessons what we learned, or you do a business what you are expertise.
Yeah.
Because what you can do. People will be asking you go and do that, do this, but you have to say no to that. You do whatever you can, and moreover, you should not go behind the money also, because money should come behind you. Because if you are only focusing on the money and doing something, then that will not work out. You do a good job and the money will come to you. This is what I feel, and
Yeah. So that's
we
our
do.
final learning. Do a good job and the money will definitely come to you. And also to add to what you said, I think by closing, I would also like to say sustainable future is what, as you said, not just the millennials, I think everyone is looking forward to. And with construction sector, with automotive sector, with the steel sector, that is what we are aiming for. Less wastage, less pollution, and obviously making our processes efficient. So yeah, that's definitely something that we can look forward to in the future. On that note, thank you once again for joining us. We will ask the audience if they have any questions. Yes, please.
It's a good question. Basically, your question is regarding how you are coping up with a long-term service contract or long-term contract which you had 2 years back. Now the material price is going up, and how we are managing. See, basically we are having two projects like that. One is 3 years contract from Atnok, another one is 5 years contract from Oman, which we got 2 years back before pandemic.
Yeah, exactly.
So basically what has happened, because luckily when we priced that job, we could put a good margin. Okay, I'm sharing the secret. And when this issue has become, so what we had done, we had gone to the client and say, see, there is a problem. The price is going up. So whenever we put any projects like that, 5 years or 3 years, we keep a benchmark for the material price. You have me steel. So something like that you need to put. So our price, today's price, or the price what we are putting is benchmarked with the me steel or that type of pricing. So if you can establish that contract, then if there is a major jump on the material price, you can very well say, whatever we have said, this is like that. So client will be accepting it. And normally, nowadays, client is also very, very friendly. I will say very friendly also with the subcontractors and contractors, because if you do not have companies like us, they cannot also exist. So they will be very much looking forward to keep all their contractors and subcontractors happy and functioning.
Interesting. What would you like to add to that, Silvio?
Yes, in our sector, we are not dealing with the raw material. We are dealing with machine, with the process, with the tools. What you ask is a problem. Means today in the world, the delivery of the computer, the delivery of the microchips, the delivery is very long. If we follow this trend with long delivery and also increasing of the price as he said, but the long delivery, we cannot satisfy the request of our customer. For example, our customer has some project. They need machine, they need tools, they need software, they need artificial intelligence to manage the software. If we don't have, they cannot do their business. We solve this problem, not completely, but we try to solve this problem with the stock. In according with our partner, we increase our stock, especially for some machine and some process absolutely necessary in the SteelFab. It means when the customer needs, when the customer gets project from ADNOC or from Emirate, or from when the customer needs, we have the solution. Maybe the solution is not 100% solution, because during COVID it's difficult to have 100% solution, but maybe the solution is 50, 60, 70%. This is what we did. It's not easy. We cannot do alone. We did it in collaboration with our partner. We did it in collaboration with the bank. The bank, fortunately, are understanding the situation. Even during COVID, and now the economy is growing too much. Means it's very difficult to find everything. Even now, we have some solution for our customer to allow them to do their business.
Interesting. And I hope that answers your question as well. Thank you. Any other questions? All right. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining me today. The discussion was very interesting, and I think it was the best way to close the SteelFab conference and look forward to a positive years. Look forward to positive years and understand with more optimism and more resilience for the sector. Thank you once again.
Thank you very much for inviting us.
Thank you once again, everyone, for joining. And I hope all of the discussions were really interesting for you. And we will meet you again next year when we have the SteelFab conference. So thank you once again for your time.